Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation reads like this. Hello my brother, can you please post my story as anonymous? I have my own confession that I want to share with you. My confession, it is a very bad confession, and I feel like I am just like a witch that goes around even during the daytime busy bewitching people. But my brother, there was nothing that I could do at that time because there was a lot of jealousy that had happened between me and my cousin sister. So when she went around gossiping about me, I then thought that it was far much better for me to give her a revenge that was very painful. But right now I regret, even though my sister is still in her marriage, but the reason as to why she is still in this marriage, I think that there is a God in heaven, and sometimes I pray that please let there not be a God in heaven, because if there is a God in heaven, surely he is waiting to punish me on judgment day. But if there is no God in heaven, at least I will know that there is no punishment that will be waiting for me. Those are just my thoughts, my brother. So what happened to me, my brother, is that my mom and my cousin sister's mom, they grew up in separate places, and the way that they grew up, my mom was being taken care of by our grandmother. Then her sister was the one who was staying with our grandfather. This was after they had a separation. We only reconnected with each other. This was after me and my cousin sister, we were all grown up. I was now a single mother, and my cousin sister, she was in her happy, stable relationship, like her mom said the first time that we started reconnecting. So after we had started reconnecting, my cousin sister kept on saying that you should come here to South Africa. At that time, her husband was working as a restaurant manager and she was working as a waitress, but I didn't want to come to South Africa. But with the troubles that I was facing back home, those were the ones that ended up pushing me to come here to South Africa. At that time, I was dating this other guy. When I was dating that guy, I thought that he was the perfect man, but I was very wrong. I think that I had only looked at his wallet and not his behavior. After I had convinced myself that I should fall pregnant for this guy, that was when I saw his true character. This guy, he was not into me in any kind of a way. When I told him that I had fallen pregnant for him, the first thing that he said, so when are you going to have an abortion? Do you want it to be done in private, or you want to go to the public hospital? And I said, what are you talking about? That was when he said that he was not ready to be a father because already he had 2 kids with his ex-wife, and he said that the moment that I am going to take you and when you become my wife, and you know that you have 1 child from your previous relationship, and this child that you are carrying, meaning that you are going to have 2 kids and I'll be having 2 kids, 4 in total. All of those kids, they are supposed to eat. One day they are supposed to be sent to school, to university. Who is going to pay for all of those bills? And he said, we cannot do that. For us to continue with this relationship, you need to have an abortion. And he just dropped the call. He was just cold and heartless, just like that. And I cried and I cried. So I then spoke with my cousin sister, even though we had never met each other before. She then convinced me to come to South Africa, and she said that you can try to keep the pregnancy and you'll be able to take care of your kids. I then came here to South Africa, but this was after my cousin sister had said, look, right now you are pregnant. I do not want you to come here to South Africa using the route whereby it is very dangerous. Rather, wait for your passport. In those years, for a passport to be processed, it would even take the whole year. So my cousin sister's husband said that we are going to give you a loan, and by the time that you would be here in South Africa, you will be able to return back the loan to us when you have started working. Already my cousin sister's husband had spoken with his boss, and there was a job that was waiting for me, but firstly I'll be working as a casual person, not a permanent one. So my brother, after my passport had came out, I then traveled to South Africa and I started staying with them. They were staying in a very nice complex and I had my own room. Things were going according to plan. When I started working, me and my cousin sister's husband, we used to go to work together. So each and every time we were always together. And he was a man who loved to be naughty. Like, you would say that, oh, you are so beautiful, I love the way that you are, but at the end of the day you will just be joking around. That was when I started dating this other guy that was working at that same restaurant. This guy, he had promised to marry me, but I was still pregnant at that time. So I then consulted my cousin sister and I said, what am I going to do? I think that since this man does not even suspect that I am pregnant, that guy, he had never been married before and he had never had a child before, because I had seen that even when he would touch me, when he would feel my tummy, he would not even see that my tummy was stiff because there was a child that was growing inside, and he didn't even suspect that I was pregnant. So I thought that if I just lie to him, then later on I will deal with the consequences. All that I wanted was a man that I could start staying with, because my cousin sister was saying that now that you are working, I think it is better that you get your own room. But the place where she wanted me to go and start renting, it was very expensive. So if this guy was going to take me in, and when we would start staying together, I know that he will be paying rent, the food, and I'll be able to send my money back home to my mom. So my sister then messed up everything for me. At first she said, it is fine, you can lie to him that you are not pregnant and you just pretend as if he is the father of the child. But she then went behind my back and she told that guy that I was dating, and she said, my sister, she's pregnant, so it is up to you to take her or to not take her. Tomorrow, if you find out that she is pregnant, I do not want you to come back to me and complain. Do it at your own risk. So that guy, he then called me and he said that I had lied to him, so he could not be with me anymore. I was really heartbroken and my sister had betrayed me. I remained quiet, my brother. I moved out of her place and we stopped talking to each other because she had broken, and we stopped talking to each other. We were now like hating on each other. She then convinced her husband to get me fired from work. I moved out of town and I started to work as a maid. When I returned back home, I then told my mother. When I told my mother everything that had happened, she was also angry, but I only left out the part that I had done an abortion whilst I was in South Africa. People think that having an abortion, it is an easy thing. My brother, I don't ever want to do something like that, because when I had visited these other illegal abortion clinics, they said that the process was going to be very easy. They gave me some pills and I started to go into labor. I just thought that maybe the baby was going to come out, but I was shocked with the way that they were removing some pieces that once belonged to my growing baby. That thing that I saw, my brother, it can never leave my mind. I still have that traumatic image that I saw of my baby's pieces gathered up in a small dish, because that man who claimed to be a doctor had to pull out those pieces one by one. This thing, my brother, it makes me to be so scared. That is why sometimes I pray that let it be not a God in heaven, because I am afraid that if he is in heaven and if he saw everything that I did at that time when I had removed my pregnancy, maybe he's going to punish me after I have died. When I went back home, I lied to my mom and I made my cousin sister to be such a bad person. I said, whilst I was in South Africa, She and her husband, they made me to work as if I was their maid. And when month end would come, they will say that we cannot pay you because you are staying here rent free. But those were lies, my brother. There was nothing like that. My cousin sister was a loving person, but I made her to be someone who was very bad. Even up until today, my mom and my cousin sister's mom, they do not even speak to each other, because my mom then called a sister and she said, so this is the reason as to why your daughter called my daughter to South Africa, so that she can make her to be her own maid. Why are you so cruel and evil like this? Why didn't you leave my child to suffer here in Zim than making her to be a servant, a slave to her daughter? A slave to your daughter. And they insulted each other. After that, then my mom said that we had to do something so as to punish her. My brother, me and my mom, we then went to those red garment prophets. I then took some of my cousin sister's personal belongings. I had stolen them, because what she used to do is that if she would wear some underwears for something like a month or 2 months, she usually used to throw them away, because she had a set of undies, the ones that she used to wear when she would be on her periods. Then the other ones that were nice, she would wear them when she would not be on her periods. So those ones that she used to throw away, those were the ones that I had stolen one day when I found them out inside a refuse bag. I just took them and I hid them somewhere. At that time, I didn't even know what I wanted to do with them. So after I had given my mom those underwears that once belonged to my cousin sister, he then gave to that red garment prophet. That man then took a knife. You know that knife in South Africa, they call it an okapi knife. That was the one that the prophet was using. He took that knife and he started slicing that used underwear that once belonged to my cousin sister. After that, he then burned those several pieces that he had cut up, and he said that, do you want her to die or do you want her to suffer? So maybe me and my mom, it was because we started to have a disagreement, because I said I want her to suffer, but my mom said that I want her to die. Then that prophet got angry with us and he said that you need to make a decision before this fire burns down, because if it burns down, then nothing is going to happen. So I do not remember if that prophet said that this woman was supposed to suffer like the way that I had told him, or the prophet said that my cousin sister was supposed to die. But at the end of the day, my cousin sister did not die. She only had a very severe illness. When she returned back home, I still remember my mom laughing, because what happened is that when she fell ill, they didn't know what was wrong with her. That was when they decided that she was supposed to come back to Zim. We heard the stories of what happened. When they got her off the bus, they had to put her inside a wheelbarrow. People said that she was so thin and everyone just thought that she was going to die, but she did not die. She survived, and right now they are still there in South Africa. But there are days, my brother, when I feel so guilty about everything that happened.